The NBA offseason is already heading into its final stretch, but curiously, the Golden State Warriors remain the only franchise that has yet to make any moves in the market. While other teams strengthen their rosters and test new combinations, the scene in San Francisco remains in a holding pattern, although behind the scenes, there is an ongoing saga dominating all conversations, the stalemate involving Jonathan Kuminga. The young forward, who has become one of the franchise's main long-term assets, is in restricted free agency. According to ESPN, the Warriors offered a 2-year extension worth $45 million, but the offer was rejected. Kuminga, 22, believes his market value is higher and is seeking something closer to $30 million per year. The problem is that negotiations have stalled, and judging by the atmosphere, all signs point to him not wanting to wear the team's jersey next season. For the Warriors, it's a delicate equation. Keeping a player who no longer sees himself fitting into the project could compromise chemistry and performance, but losing a young talent without return is also risky. In this scenario, a possible escape route has emerged. Reporter Jake Fisher revealed that there is internal interest in arranging a trade involving Kuminga and Australian guard Josh Giddey, currently with the Chicago Bulls. Like Kuminga, Giddey is also a restricted free agent and has been unable to land the contract he expected this offseason. Various sources indicated that he was seeking a deal worth around $30 million per year, but talks with Chicago have not moved in that direction. Now, according to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, agents from other franchises believe that a 3-year contract worth between $65 million and $70 million would be the most realistic balance point. This would place Giddey's annual salary at around $20 million, something that changes the landscape and opens the door for creative negotiations. Within this logic, a speculative trade proposal has surfaced that could meet the interests of both sides. In it, the Warriors would receive Josh Giddey, center Nikola Vucevic, guard Ayo Dosunmu, and a 2028 first-round draft pick belonging to the Chicago Bulls. In return, Chicago would get Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, another young talent from Golden State's roster. It is important to note that, to make the deal financially viable, the Warriors would likely need to move Buddy Hield in a parallel transaction. The motivation behind this movement is clear. Kuminga's fit in Steve Kerr's system has not worked as expected. Despite his athletic talent and potential for growth, he does not seem to adapt to the collective style and offensive spacing that define the Warriors' identity. Giddey, on the other hand, has characteristics that would perfectly complement Stephen Curry's presence. With sharp court vision, pace control, and the ability to involve teammates, the Australian could be the facilitator the team needs to maximize its offense and balance playmaking duties. Giddey's last season with the Bulls reinforces this view. He averaged 14.6 points, 8.1 rebounds, 7.2 assists, 1.2 steals, and 0.6 blocks per game. Previously seen as a player with deficiencies in long-range shooting, a constant criticism during his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he pleasantly surprised in Chicago, hitting 37.8% of his three-point attempts. And most impressively, after the All-Star game, he raised his output to 21.2 points and 9.3 assists per game, with a 50% field goal percentage and an incredible 45.7% from three. This evolution puts Giddey in the conversation for a future All-Star game appearance if he maintains that level. Another name included in the possible trade is Nikola Vucevic. The veteran center is entering the final season of a 3-year, $60 million contract. While his name may not generate much buzz in the market right now, he still represents a solid solution for a position the Warriors have been looking to strengthen for months. The franchise has even been trying to sign Al Horford this offseason, but without success so far. Last season, Vucevic averaged 18.5 points, 10.1 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.7 blocks. Numbers that show consistency, even if his profile is not exactly that of a rim-protecting center ideal for a title-contending team. Ayo Dosunmu would be a strategic addition to the perimeter. The Warriors have been missing a primary defender to guard explosive guards and wings at the point of attack, and Dosunmu fulfills that role with intensity and discipline. Last season, he averaged 12.3 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.4 blocks, showing the versatility to contribute offensively as well. In addition to the immediate pieces, the Warriors would also gain an important asset for the future, a 2028 first-round draft pick. Considering they would be parting with two young players with potential, this draft capital could be kept as part of a long-term replenishment plan or used as trade currency in future market moves. On the Bulls' side, the main attraction would be betting on Kuminga's developmental ceiling. The forward has already shown signs that he can take on a leading role in decisive moments. In the closing stretch of the playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, for example, he stepped up offensively in the last 3 games, averaging 26.3 points, 3.0 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.0 steal, and 0.3 blocks, shooting 51.9% from the field and 40% from 3, all in a context where Stephen Curry was out and Jimmy Butler was not in peak physical condition. In Chicago, Kuminga would have the space and minutes to expand his game, in addition to forming a young core alongside names like Matas Buzelis. The addition of Moses Moody would complement this strategy. Although his numbers are less eye-catching, the guard showed consistency, averaging 9.8 points, 2.6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.4 blocks last season. Balanced trades in which both sides come out stronger are rare in the NBA. However, this hypothetical proposal seems to offer mutual benefits. The Warriors would get a playmaker in Giddey, a reliable perimeter defender in Dosunmu, and a productive center in Vucevic, along with a draft pick. The Bulls would gain in Kuminga the chance to develop a future star and, in Moody, a solid rotation piece. If completed, this deal would not only resolve Kuminga's contractual impasse, but could also redefine the Warriors' style of play for the coming seasons. If this trade were actually carried out, the immediate impact on the Golden State Warriors' style of play would be significant. Over the past few years, the team has built its identity around pace and space and constant ball movement, a system that relies heavily on collective intelligence and players capable of making quick decisions. Josh Giddey, with his court vision and ability to manipulate defenses, fits into this concept almost naturally. Even at 36 years old, Stephen Curry remains the team's offensive engine, but each season demands a little more rest and physical management. Having a secondary playmaker who can organize the offense would allow Curry to play more off the ball, better exploiting his movement without possession and taking advantage of his absurd shooting efficiency. This offensive freedom has already proven devastating for opponents in the past, and Giddey could help revive this weapon frequently. Furthermore, Giddey is a player who doesn't need high-scoring numbers to impact the game. His ability to generate assists, protect the rebound, and read defensive rotations offers the Warriors a multifunctional creator. With him on the court, the team could reduce the creative load on Draymond Green, who is already showing signs of physical wear, and in recent seasons has had to shoulder both defensive and offensive responsibilities that often compromised his consistency. The arrival of Nikola Vucevic would also bring changes. Under Steve Kerr, the Warriors have always preferred mobile big men, capable of spacing the floor or at least keeping the offense flowing with good passing. Vucevic offers some of that, but with a profile more geared towards half-court play, exploring pick-and-pop situations and taking advantage of mismatches in the low post. His presence would allow the team to vary its tempo, something useful in the playoffs where the game slows down and each possession becomes more important. However, his inclusion in the roster would bring a defensive challenge. Vucevic has never been known for rim protection or lateral mobility, traits that are crucial for covering defensive switches in Kerr's system. The likely solution would be to adjust rotations so he could share minutes with more agile centers, such as Kevin Looney, to maintain the balance between offense and defense. As for Ayo Dosunmu, his value cannot be underestimated. In a Western Conference full of explosive guards, from Ja Morant to De'Aaron Fox, having a defender capable of pressuring the ball from the start of possessions is a huge asset. Dosunmu not only brings that intensity but has also improved offensively, becoming a respectable threat from the perimeter. His addition would give the Warriors a profile the current roster lacks, a consistent primary backcourt defender. The 2028 first-round pick is another crucial point in this equation. Even though the Warriors' goal is to remain competitive at the highest level in the coming years, the franchise knows that Curry's cycle is approaching its end. Securing draft assets for the medium term is a way to prepare for a less painful transition. Depending on the direction the Bulls take, this pick could become extremely valuable, especially if Chicago faces difficulties down the road. For the Bulls, the appeal of the deal lies in the potential of Jonathan Kuminga. The franchise faces a dilemma between trying to compete in the short term or starting a deeper rebuild. Kuminga's arrival offers an intermediate solution, a young player with a high ceiling for development who can already contribute immediately. His athletic explosiveness, driving ability, and improved three-point shooting make him an interesting piece for shaping the future. Moreover, Kuminga has already shown he can shine when given a bigger role. His performance against the Timberwolves in the playoffs was a clear sign of that. In Chicago, with more touches and freedom to attack, he would have the ideal conditions to fully explore his abilities. In a young core alongside Matas Buzelis, Kobe White, and Patrick Williams, he would fit in as one of the main offensive references. Moses Moody, in turn, represents a quiet but effective addition. His off-ball game, ability to space the floor, and disciplined defensive positioning make him a useful complement in any rotation. For the Bulls, who are seeking consistency on the wings, he's a reinforcement that helps immediately and still has room for growth. The financial factor is also relevant. Both teams face salary challenges with their restricted free agents. The Warriors, with one of the most expensive payrolls in the league, don't want to further compromise their flexibility with a heavy contract for Kuminga, especially if the player doesn't fully fit their system. The Bulls, on the other hand, hesitate to pay Giddey what he's asking for, considering the franchise is still unsure if he's the centerpiece of a winning project. In this context, the trade almost seems like a natural solution to two contractual standoffs. Each side gives up a young talent who doesn't fully fit its current reality and receives in return a piece that better suits its immediate and medium-term needs. Still, there are clear risks. For the Warriors, there's the possibility that Giddey fails to replicate the progress he showed after the All-Star break, returning to his earlier inconsistencies from long range. Vucevic could expose the defense in matchups against faster teams, and Dosunmu would need to maintain his offensive growth to avoid becoming a liability on that end. For the Bulls, the risk lies in Kuminga's development. While the potential is evident, there's no guarantee he'll become a star. Furthermore, losing Giddey means giving up a young playmaker, something that's not easy to replace. Moody, as useful as he is, does not fill that gap. However, recent NBA history shows that trades like this, involving players still in their developmental stage, can be decisive in redefining a franchise's course. Just remember how deals involving underestimated young players, such as Tyrese Halliburton or Lauri Markkanen, completely changed the landscape for their new teams. The future of Jonathan Kuminga and Josh Giddey remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. If this trade goes through, it has the potential to be one of the most talked-about moves of the offseason. If we look at the strategic impact of this potential deal within the current NBA landscape, we can see that both the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls have more at stake than just a player swap. There is a matter of franchise identity involved. Since Steve Kerr's arrival, the Warriors have built a model based on a combination of elite shooting, ball movement, and defensive versatility. This style has already delivered 4 titles and turned the team into one of the symbols of modern basketball. However, over the past 2 years, the difficulties have become clear. The roster has aged, injuries have taken their toll, and the squad's depth has diminished. Jonathan Kuminga's fit, while promising on paper, has never consistently materialized within this system. In high-paced games, his contribution is evident, but in tactical reads and off-ball movement, crucial aspects of Kerr's offense, he still shows limitations. Josh Giddey, on the other hand, is almost the opposite in terms of profile. He doesn't have Kuminga's same explosive athleticism, but compensates with court vision and decision-making maturity for his age. In a team like the Warriors, where off-ball movement and collective intelligence are vital, this trait could be the missing link to reactivating the offensive fluidity that defined the franchise's golden years. On the defensive side, the equation is more complex. Giddey is not an elite defender, but his size and wingspan allow him to cover multiple positions. With Draymond Green still serving as the defensive anchor, the team could mask some of his shortcomings, especially if Ayo Dosunmu is alongside him to handle the direct perimeter threat. For the Bulls, Kuminga's arrival would represent an investment in raw talent and growth potential. Since Derrick Rose's prime, Chicago has not had a young player combining such physical and technical tools to become a star. The franchise is in a phase where it needs to decide whether to keep the current core to push for the playoffs or fully embrace a rebuild. Kuminga fits both paths. He can help compete now, but also serve as a pillar for a more ambitious future. The inclusion of Moses Moody in this equation adds an element of consistency to Chicago's roster. While not the type of player to lead statistical categories, Moody is reliable, disciplined, and able to contribute on both ends of the floor. For a team that has often struggled with wing depth, he would be an immediate boost. This trade would also have direct implications for the balance of power within the conferences. In the Western Conference, the Warriors face opponents like the Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Oklahoma City Thunder, all with deep and well-structured rosters. Adding Giddey, Vucevic, and Dosunmu would provide more tools to deal with a variety of playing styles, from Denver's physical, compact defenses to OKC's speed and high-volume shooting. In the Eastern Conference, the Bulls would gain a player like Kuminga, who could be a weapon against the region's top defenses. His ability to attack the rim, combined with possible improvements in his shooting, could create problems for opponents like the Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks. Furthermore, his presence would open up room for more athletic lineups, allowing the Bulls to better exploit fast breaks and quick transitions. Financially, the trade also carries strategic relevance. The Warriors, bogged down by luxury tax penalties in recent years, are looking for ways to remain competitive without further compromising their flexibility. Trading Kuminga, who is seeking a max contract, for Giddey on a more balanced deal could ease some of that pressure. The Bulls, meanwhile, would avoid paying the salary Giddey is aiming for and instead invest in a player who has yet to reach his peak and could be extended on terms more aligned with the franchise's current stage. The fan reaction would certainly be intense. Warriors supporters would have mixed feelings. Some would see Kuminga's departure as necessary to keep the team competitive in the short term, while others would regret losing a young talent who, in theory, could be the successor to recent franchise greats. In Chicago, Kuminga's arrival could be welcomed as a breath of hope to revitalize the team, especially among those disheartened by the lack of progress in recent seasons. Among analysts, the trade would likely divide opinions. Supporters of the idea would highlight the immediate fit of the pieces for both sides, while critics would point out the risk of giving up players who could reach higher levels in the coming years. This kind of debate, however, is exactly what keeps the NBA alive off the court. Bold moves are part of the league's DNA, and the full impact can't always be predicted until the pieces settle into their new contexts. Ultimately, this deal fits into the category of a gamble that could redefine trajectories. For the Warriors, it would be an attempt to extend Curry's title window as far as possible. For the Bulls, it would be an opportunity to inject youth and energy into the roster, paving the way for a more promising future. The Golden State Warriors have always had a special talent for standing out, not only through their on-court performance, but also in how they build their identity and connect with fans. The potential arrival of Kai Sotto to the roster wouldn't just be a technical reinforcement, but a strategic move that could expand the franchise's global influence, connecting different cultures and markets around the world. With a massive fan base in the Philippines, where he is seen as a sports icon, Kai Sotto could be the bridge that tightens the bonds between the NBA and millions of Asian fans. His presence on the Warriors could elevate the team's popularity in Asia, especially in the Philippines, a country where basketball is more than just a sport. It's a true national passion. This move would create a new wave of dedicated fans, increasing engagement and further strengthening the Warriors' brand. Beyond the direct impact on the Filipino community, Sotto's arrival could further expand the franchise's reach in international markets. The Warriors have always known how to turn their on-court success into a globally recognized brand, and Sotto could be an essential piece to drive this expansion. With a growing presence in Asia, the team could explore new commercial and strategic opportunities, solidifying their position as one of the most influential franchises in the NBA. But Kai Sotto's impact goes far beyond marketing and the global expansion of the Warriors brand. He has become an inspiration to thousands of young athletes, especially in the Philippines, and his journey proves that basketball can be a powerful tool for change and opportunity. His path shows that with dedication and effort, it's possible to rise from less favorable circumstances and carve out a space among the best in the world. For the new generations, Kai Sotto's rise represents more than just a distant dream. He is the living proof that talent and hard work can overcome barriers. Many young people look up to him and see not just a promising player, but an example of perseverance and courage. Someone who decided to face greater challenges and proved that he can compete at the highest level. If incorporated into the Warriors roster, Kai would have the opportunity to further develop his skills in an environment that values both individual and collective growth. Under the guidance of Coach Steve Kerr, who has always prioritized player development and building trust, Sotto could refine his game and reach a new level, both offensively and defensively. The Warriors system has always stood out for its fluidity, constant movement, and collective play. The team's philosophy is based on floor spacing and active participation from all players in plays, which fits well with Kai Sotto's playing style. With his versatility and tactical intelligence, he could add new possibilities to the team's scheme, strengthening the group even more. Defensively, Sotto's ability to protect the rim and dominate rebounds could be a key differentiator. He has the potential to become a modern center who not only defends effectively, but also contributes offensively, particularly with mid-range shots. Few players in his position have this combination of skills, and it could give the Warriors a new dynamic, keeping the team competitive and unpredictable for their opponents. Another important point is Kai Sotto's adaptability. The Warriors have always required their players to be versatile, and he fits this profile perfectly. In addition to acting as a rim protector, Kai could be a playmaker, helping in the offensive transition and offering new options for the team to explore. One of the greatest advantages for Kai in joining the Warriors would be the chance to play alongside basketball legends like Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. The presence of these veterans on the roster would provide invaluable experience for the young player, who could absorb knowledge and learn directly from two of the most intelligent and strategic players in the league. Curry, globally recognized as one of the greatest shooters in history, is an example of dedication and constant evolution. Having the opportunity to play alongside him would allow Kai Sotto to improve his game reading and further develop his decision-making ability on the court. On the other hand, Draymond Green's leadership and basketball IQ could be pivotal for Kai's growth. Green is known for his game vision and defensive skills, and his mentorship could help Sotto adapt to the NBA's physical and intense playing style. With Green as a guide, Kai could learn to use his height and wingspan as efficiently as possible, becoming an even more valuable asset for the team. Kai Sotto's presence would not be limited to his impact on the court. The Golden State Warriors have always embraced diversity and inclusion, reflecting the multicultural spirit of Silicon Valley. The arrival of a highly projected Filipino player would further strengthen this identity and create an even deeper bond with the Filipino community, which already has a strong presence in the Bay Area. Additionally, the franchise could leverage this connection to promote social and cultural initiatives, organizing special events and actions aimed at engaging Filipino fans. This would not only strengthen the relationship between the team and its fans, but also expand the NBA's global presence, reinforcing the cultural impact of basketball worldwide. On the commercial side, the potential signing of Kai Sotto would bring significant impact. His popularity would drive brands and sponsors to show even greater interest in the Warriors, capitalizing on the visibility he would bring, especially in the Asian market. Sales of official products, such as jerseys and other items related to the player, would experience a major boost, further increasing the team's revenue. The commercial impact would extend to TV broadcasts, advertising deals, and even strategic partnerships to strengthen the Warriors' presence in one of the fastest-growing sports markets in the world. The NBA has always been a league known for its ability to reach global audiences, and Kai Sotto's arrival at the Golden State Warriors could further intensify this expansion. He wouldn't just be another player on the roster, but a symbol of a new phase for the franchise, one that seeks to reinforce its international presence and conquer new audiences. His signing would not only be a commercial move, but also an opportunity to add talent and versatility to the team. Steve Kerr would have the mission of adapting the team's tactical scheme to integrate a center with Sotto's characteristics, making the most of his qualities within a system that values movement, collectivity, and basketball intelligence. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any details of the next news. Your support is crucial for us to continue bringing everything about our team. See you in the next video.